Nintendo's GameCube is one of my personal favourite consoles. It has great games, a good controller, it can play Game Boy games with the Game Boy player attachment, and plus, it's a cube. What's not to love? While I have a fondness for this little box though, it actually turned out to be a little bit disappointing in terms of sales, being the second lowest selling of Nintendo's core range of consoles. Gee, I wonder what the lowest selling was. You pathetic little creature. Because of the GameCube's comparatively low sales though, this meant that many publishers didn't actually manufacture all that many games for the GameCube, which has only made them even more sought after today. So this is a list of the top 10 rarest GameCube games of all time, which was originally written by the excellent Jason Brown over on the Retro Dodo website, so I'll link to that article in the description. The only real rule here is that we're not talking about limited edition versions of games, and we're just talking about stuff that had a normal retail release. So, enough waffle, and let's get on with it. Number 10, Chibi-Robo. Chibi-Robo is one cute customer, that much is apparent from the cover alone before you even start playing it. And like many of us tech-hungry humans, he also has to carry a plug around with him to charge up on the go. Tasked with making sure the family he lives with are always happy, he's basically an electronic house elf that has to do little challenges and carry out tasks in a world that is so big for a tiny little dude. With a cute demeanour though comes a big price tag, or at least that's the case for Chibi-Robo. Prices start at around $140 and can go all the way up to $799. This is one that I personally want to get at some point too, so I guess I had better start saving. Number 9, Sonic Adventure 2-Pack. This Sonic Adventure 2-Pack is the first of 2 titles on this list that's a double pack. As the name would suggest, this combines both of the GameCube Sonic Adventure games, Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, together in one neat box. You could easily buy these 2 games separately for a much cheaper price. But that's not the point of having the ultimate GameCube collection, is it? Players that want to bag this rare Double Trouble pack will have to pay upwards of $799 for a mint condition copy. I think I'll stick to the standard versions for now. Number 8, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Intelligent Systems are known in the West primarily for their 2 turn-based strategy franchises, Advance Wars, which began as Famicom Wars, and Fire Emblem. Although Advance Wars takes a modern, militaristic approach, albeit with a cute veneer, Fire Emblem takes place in a fantasy setting. Fire Emblem has seen a lot more success in recent years, with one of the latest entries, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, releasing to great critical and commercial success. Because of this though, it was inevitable that earlier entries would draw attention from players looking to delve into the history of the series. The relative scarcity of GameCube games means that Path of Radiance is one of the most difficult entries in the series to acquire, and sealed copies sell for around the $799 mark. Number 7, Metroid Prime and The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker 2-Pack. The next double pack on our list of rare GameCube games is a rather strange combo, Metroid Prime and The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. And while it might be a weird combo, they're considered 2 of the best GameCube games, so I'm not complaining. Anyone wanting to bag this collection will have to get ready to part with some serious cash. Prices start at $510 and can go all the way to around $879. Again, unless you're a GameCube superfan, you're probably best off sticking to the standard versions. Number 6, Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes. The PlayStation masterpiece Metal Gear Solid was given a fantastic update for the GameCube with the Twin Snakes. This was developed by Silicon Knights and overseen by series creator Hideo Kojima, along with Nintendo's very own Shigeru Miyamoto. With the addition of game mechanics previously seen in the PS2 sequel Metal Gear Solid 2, like the ability to aim in first person, as well as having brand new cutscenes and improvements to enemy AI, it was actually much more than a straightforward straightforward remaster and is actually one of the earliest examples of a full-on remake that I ever came across. The fact that it's only ever been released on the GameCube with a relatively limited print run, and given the enduring popularity of the series, it's made the Twin Snakes a highly sought after game for collectors. Consequently, prices are currently in the region of $74 for a copy in used condition, and can go for much higher than that for copies in mint condition. Not too bad for an affordable rare GameCube game. As a side note, this is another game that I really want to get. I might have to commit to that soon before it gets even more ridiculous in price. Considering I'm a pretty huge fan of the MGS series, I'm actually quite surprised I don't have this yet. I should sort that out. Number 5, Skies of Arcadia Legends. The Dreamcast was a console released way ahead of its time and didn't get the recognition or the success it deserved during its all too brief lifespan. Not only did it play host to some of the finest arcade ports, but it was also home to some absolutely beautiful first-party games that, following Sega's exit from the hardware market, thankfully got a second chance by being ported to other systems. Skies of Arcadia Legends is actually a little bit more than just a port of the Dreamcast version though. It's essentially a beefed up version of the game, billed as a director's cut by Sega themselves. It's a stunning game that to this day is still criminally underappreciated and unfairly forgotten. Unfortunately though, the GameCube version is highly sought after by collectors, with prices that can reach $999. Number 4, Disney Sports Basketball. I've never put Mickey down as being a great basketball player, but he must be with a price like this. Well, it turns out that he probably isn't all that great, because Disney Sports Basketball got pretty poor reviews back in the day, which ultimately led to it not selling well. Now, however, like so many other games out there that sold poorly, it's making the most of a second, or in this case I guess a first surge in popularity, with prices for a sealed copy rocking up to around $1,199. I'll let you decide how much you're willing to pay to see Mickey and crew shoot some hoops. For me though, I think I'm gonna pass on this one. Number 3, Gotcha Force. On the surface, Gotcha Force should have been a massive success. Controlling robots to battle each other always makes for good gameplay, right? Well, critics didn't think so on this occasion. Luckily, in recent years, fans have seen past the game's flaws and found it pretty exciting to play, rekindling interest in the title. Now, collectors can expect to pay upwards of $172 for the disc, or up to $2,200 for a brand new copy. Number 2, Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire. This is probably the strangest game on the entire list, and the reason for that is that it's technically not even a game. Pokemon Box was used to store the Pokemon that you captured in Leaf Green, Fire Red, Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald, but in order to do so required not only a GameCube, Game Boy Advance link cable and the game itself, but also an entire memory card too. On top of that, you also needed the Game Boy Advance and a copy of one of the previously mentioned Pokemon games too, so that's a whole lot of hurdles to jump through. Adding to the strangeness, this was only available in America by visiting the Pokemon Center in New York. This is despite the fact that it was much more easily accessible in Europe, where it was sold in a bundle with the GameCube console. I suppose one of the main draws of this is that it did allow you to play Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire on the TV, but there's already a Game Boy player available for the GameCube which allows you to play literally any Game Boy game on the TV, so this is a bit of a redundant feature. It's certainly a bit of an oddity, but that probably makes it all the more appealing for both collectors and Pokemaniacs. Number 1, Cubivore Survival of the Fittest. Originally in development for the Nintendo 64's ill-fated 64DD peripheral, which explains the game's dated low-resolution look compared to its contemporaries, Cubivore was published by Nintendo in Japan but picked up by Atlus to release in the US when Nintendo decided not to localize it themselves. Players control a Cubivore, a very basic cuboid creature with the intent of rising to the top of the food chain by mutating until they're strong enough to defeat the powerful killer Cubivore. Mutations are gained by eating other animals and mating, breeding stronger attributes through successive generations of Cubivores. Despite a very adult-sounding premise, the lo-fi visuals and whimsical presentation give the game an almost relaxing ambience, with a deep and satisfying mutation system as part of the game's compelling feature set. These days, this one-of-a-kind game has seen its value skyrocket, with listings on eBay going up to $3,275 depending on its condition. Not bad for a game that Nintendo didn't think was worth localizing for the West. And there we have it, 10 of the rarest GameCube games ever made. Let us know in the comments if you've got any of these games, and also let us know if you want to see more lists like this, maybe looking at rare games found on other consoles. Definitely have a read of Jason's original article taking a look at these rare GameCube games as well, because there's an additional 5 games in that article that weren't mentioned in this video. So take a look at that if you're looking for more GameCube goodness. For now though, I've been Rob from Retro Dodo, and I'll see you in the next one.